All right, feeling good, feeling great. Feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome in. It is another edition of Timeline T. I'm your host, the Sam D, Sam Dusamay Jr. This is a live stream where I'm able to come through, dissect all the latest sports news and rumors from the timeline, and we try to navigate here what's real, what's fugazi, what needs to be examined more, who's just, jumping out there just trying to get a hot take off, and what tea is actually brewing. Like there's cold pressed tea, and then there's tea that's just, the Lipton tea with the powdered, and then sometimes you get that loose leaf tea that you got to put in a little still strainer, John, and dip that into the hot water and let that stew and brew for about 15 to 20 minutes to really get all the extract. Like that's the type of tea that really hits. So, and I think we have some of that today. So as you see down here on the bottom, John Morant, there's a lot going on there. Draymond Green. Now, normally I don't say his name like that. I call him by the name that I've made kind of infamous on my podcast, the Sam D podcast, by the way. Link for that's in the description. But in regards to the guy called Draymond Green, he's known as the habitual nut hitter because, when you think about it, yeah. And then we have A.J. Brown versus Juju Smith-Schuster. Why does that remind me of a Chappelle Show skit? We'll get there. But off rip, we got to go with Ja Morant. What can we say that won't already be said when it comes to Ja Morant? One thing is for sure. And first of all, if you're new here, please pull up, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn the bell on for notifications. The donate link, if you want to support the cause, is in the description as well. So, one-time thing, doesn't have to be a monthly subscription type thing. I know how annoying those can be. But if you do want to show some support, donation link is down there in the description. So, Ja Morant. What the hell did Ja Morant do? Did he do it? Did he not do it? Is this all cap? Is this all a money grab? What do you believe? The Washington Post unearthed a story in regards to a bunch of stories in regards to Ja Morant. And, there was that thing a couple of months ago, what was that, around the holidays, right? In regards to him allegedly pointing a laser beam, or someone in the Jeep, all alleged, pointing a beam at the Pacers staff, the Indiana Pacers staff. Well, now there's another few stories that are coming out. And it's all looking bad for Ja. And I'm not here to put a cape on yet. I did a hit on Tennessee, ESPN Radio in Tennessee, and, kind of tried to set the record straight about the first incident with the Pacers because that story was never corroborated. The NBA did an investigation. Nothing was found. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing to corroborate the version of events that the Pacers staff said happened. So therefore, we're like, all right, well, you're just trying to ride on man to just try to get him in trouble. You're trying to be a tattletale. You're trying to be a snitch, whatever you want to call it. But again, are you snitching if nothing actually happened? There was an investigation. Nothing was founded. Nothing was corroborated. We all moved on. Now, though, the allegation of what Ja Morant is being accused of now is punching a teenager. And that's just one piece of it, because we go from having that story of him punching a teenager, and then there was another event, and let's go ahead to the screen because there's a lot to get into today. Ja Morant threatened mall security director 4 days before teen punch accusation records show. So now there's multiple events. It's not just the whole beam thing with the Pacers. It's not that. Now it's not only did you punch a teen, and we'll get there because that part of the story I think is being underreported. Like this mall security thing is also a thing for sure. I don't want to sit here and poo-poo that. But in regards to egregious, I think the teen punch thing is the one. But let's start with the mall security thing. So we have this headline here. You see it. Ja Morant threatened mall security director 4 days before teen punch accusation. So what exactly happened in that accusation? Okay, let's pull this up here. All right, so we can all do this together, right? We can all do this as a class. Let's get to the meat of it, right? So the meat of it is down here towards the bottom. 2 months after the loss to the Golden State Warriors, Let's see here. Let's move some stuff around here so we can read this together as a gang. Because this, maybe I shouldn't say that talking about Ja. 2 months after the loss to the Golden State Warriors, Ja Morant's mother was at a Finish Line shoe store at a Memphis mall when she got into a dispute with a store employee, according to a Memphis police report obtained by the Post. That is the Washington Post, right? So we have that piece of it. I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of it since it's probably going to get cut off here. She called Morant, she as in Morant's mom, who arrived shortly after with a group of as many as 9 other people. So moms got into it with someone at Finish Line. They had words. She said, okay, I'm going to hit my son up. You don't know who my son is, or maybe she let him know who the son is. I don't know. But whatever way, a phone call was made. Now, no one is saying this part isn't true. So let's take that for what it is, right? As of right now, everyone is corroborating that more or less in some kind of fashion, this happened. What happened next? So John then pull up to the mall, allegedly with 9 other people. He was confronted by the director of mall security. Morant and his friends refused the security guard's demands to leave the mall parking lot. Police arrived and a verbal confrontation escalated, the report says, until someone in the group allegedly pushed the security director in the head. So was that a mush? Like, is that old school? We're just mushing people? Is that what we're doing? Or I don't know how else you push someone in the head, but it sounds like son got mushed. Okay. As the group was leaving the premises, Ja Morant said, let me find out what time he gets off. Police wrote in the report. The guard wanted to file a report, police wrote, because he felt threatened by the statement from Ja Morant and had been assaulted by the person who had pushed him. The disturbing parties left the scene and no arrests were made. That's a lot, okay? That's a lot to try to decipher. So Ja Morant's mom has a thing at Finish Line, has words with whoever, a store employee, calls up Ja. Ja pulls up within minutes with 9 other people allegedly in a vehicle. And now they're being confronted by mall security. So there's a little gap there. Like, what happened between Ja's mom making the call and then all of a sudden here comes Ja with 9 dudes in the parking lot? There's a gap there. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully there'll be some more reporting here. So now as they're trying to leave, someone gets mushed. Security director gets mushed by one of the 9. And then Ja allegedly says, let me find out what time he gets off. That's a pretty damning statement. That's a pretty salacious statement. That could be something that could be perceived as a threat. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This story is going to be one of the ones because I don't think this story is going away. The Pacers thing went away. You can argue that since it was with another NBA team, the NBA could kind of keep that in-house. If anything actually happened, they could kind of, sweep that under the rug. This is at a mall, bruh. You was wilding on a Finish Line employee, or your mom's had something with a Finish Line employee, and then, you're up in the parking lot getting it cracking. I don't know, man. Ja's got some explaining to do. That was the first thing I tweeted out when this went down on the Elon app. I said, Ja got some explaining to do. We all tried to cop him, please, with the whole Pacers thing. This is different, bruh. This is different. This is not the same. So Ja Morant did come off the screen here, and I think the next part here is where you can really understand how problematic this could be if true. Because again, we're going under the assumption that this reporting with police reports is all above board. So the punching the team, he punched a 17-year-old high school hooper. This happened at his house. So they were getting a run-in, playing hoops in Ja's crib. I think they said Mike Miller was there. Mike Miller. He's an exec in that front office, isn't he? He's a part of the Grizzlies front office, right? Mike Miller was there. A bunch of other people, Ja's people, and they're hooping. And apparently this 17-year-old kid, who is a known hooper, who has allegedly been there before. So this wasn't like a first-time thing, and, he's just in awe of Ja, and maybe in an exchange of words. No, this is someone that has been there before, and they're hooping. The kid is guarding Ja one-on-one, and, you know, according to the police report, the kid was like, yo, I'm in awe of Ja Morant. You know, I'm in awe of Ja Morant. Like, I look up to this guy. You know, I'm amazed I'm able to be able to go to his house and hoop and get some run and play literally against him. So the kid is a fan. He's looking up to Ja. He said, I think he even said he views him as a mentor. Okay? So we have Ja and this kid, and they're going at it. It's competitive. It's hooping. It's balling. So the kid checks the ball up to Ja and apparently put a little oomph on it. Ja caught it, checked it back, like, check it up to me with respect. But the kid, not wanting to bow down, no, I'm checking it. I'm keeping that same energy. This is hoop. This is ball. Checked it up again aggressively. Apparently this time was a little bit too aggressive for Ja. He didn't catch the check, went through, hit him in the face, allegedly around the chin area. So now, Ja can't look like he got sunned at his own crib, right? Youngin, come to my crib. I let you hoop in my crib. You're coming here. I'm letting you into a mansion. I got a mansion out here in Memphis because I'm the king of Memphis. Ain't no Graceland. It's Ja land. I'm out here. I'm outside. I'm letting you hoop. I'm trying to give back. I'm allowing local people to come in and hoop with me and run with me, and you're around me and my family. And the kid is into it. He's playing real ball. He's not playing soft. He's not, you know, it's not like, you remember back when they had those clips of Obama hooping. They would just let Obama do whatever he wanted. He was looking like Magic Johnson anytime he played, because you can't foul him because Secret Service got you lined up with them real beams. Allegedly not them Ja beams, but them real beams. But when it comes to this, the kid had no back down. Allegedly, kid had no back down. Kid was willing to stand his ground and check it up. Aggressive. Ja didn't catch it, hits him in the grill, and allegedly, according to the police report, he asked his mans, should I do it to him? And his man said yes. It's a lot of problems, right? Like, we're just checking off red flag after red flag after red flag. You're getting pressed about a missed check that you didn't catch. It hit you in the face. It's inadvertent. Allegedly, this is all going along with the 17-year-old's version of the events, right? So let's take it as it is as of right now. But in terms of Ja checking the rock up, kid checks it back, and Ja doesn't catch it, and it hits him in the grill. Now Ja's tight, and he asks his mans, should I do it to him? Is that what we doing? And his man says, yes, do it to him. And then allegedly, again, this is all alleged, because this is one version of the events. Then after Ja gets the confirmation from someone in the crew to, do it to him, Ja gave him not a one piece. He didn't give him a two piece like Chris Childs did Kobe. It was way more than that. They put the beats to this youngin. 17 years old, they put the beats to youngin. The kid said he got hit at least 12, 13 times by Ja. And then his mans and them jumped in. So they basically jumped this kid, if we're to believe the 17-year-old's version of the events. Again, I read the whole story, so I'm here to give y'all exactly what this is, because this is why it's called Timeline T. That story came down the timeline. It was behind the paywall. A lot of people not trying to pay for those stories. I ain't trying to pay for those stories either, but I can't tell you how I was able to read the full story, but I was able to read the full story. And yeah, this 17-year-old is alleging that this all started from a missed check. I checked it to Ja, he caught it, he checked it back, he wanted me to check it with some more respect. I'm not on that type of time, I'm here to hoop. I'm keeping that same energy, I check it back. He didn't catch it, hit him in the face a little bit, and he got tight. And they could put the beats to him in your own crib. So understand, this is not playing pickup at some random spot in Memphis. This is at Ja's mansion with family and friends around, and allegedly Mike Miller on the premises. And Ja is out here putting the beats to a kid. And then his peoples jumps in. Ja, man, you got he has a signature shoe that looks awfully like a lot Kyrie's. But either way, you have a SIG shoe. You got a Powerade sponsorship. I mean, your Q rating is through the roof. You're starting to become, I won't say he's a superstar yet, but he's ascending to that point. And this is what you got going on. We tried to look past the Indiana Pacers beam thing, even though that wasn't you, allegedly. It was someone in the vehicle, allegedly. And again, the NBA investigated, and that story was never corroborated. So they couldn't find any fault. Now, again, because it involved another NBA team, I'm sure Adam Silver and, whoever else was involved, if there really was something there, they might have been able to let that go and put that to the side to make sure that doesn't blow up like this story. Because this story, there's no sweeping this under the rug. There's police reports, multiple police reports filed. Ja Morant allegedly not only had the goons run up 9 deep when his moms was beefing with a Finish Line employee, and they're beefing in the parking lot with mall security, and allegedly mall security gets mushed, and then Ja allegedly says, what time does he get off? Again, it's becoming a narrative. I thought it was going to be a trash narrative. I thought people were just out here just trying to ride on Ja. They were putting a lot of the Iverson energy on Ja, talking about the entourage, yes men, who are these guys, what's their background. I felt a lot of that Iverson energy coming towards Ja, and I wasn't a fan of it. So I, especially when I was on ESPN radio in Tennessee, tried to defend Ja, like, hey man, look, this could just be, a misunderstanding. We don't know what's what. The NBA investigated, nothing was corroborated, but this is different now. We got eyewitness reports. There's eyewitness reports of the incident at Ja's crib. Something happened. This kid got hands laid on him. By whomst? People are not saying, but there's eyewitness accounts that something indeed happened. And then we ain't even get to the end of the story in regards to, the basketball story at Ja's crib. Because allegedly, at the very end of it, when the kid was trying to leave after getting jumped, again, allegedly by Ja and his peoples, the kid goes to leave and he sees Ja coming out, and he can clearly see that Ja's got a hammer, in the tuck. He's got a piece in the tuck, hammer in the tuck, whatever you want to call it. He's concealing something as he's coming out the crib. Now, Ja was interviewed by the police and is saying that, when it comes right down to it, he felt threatened. I'll let y'all decide on that one. But as of right now, it's really becoming problematic trying to defend Ja Morant. Now, again, his people have released a statement. Let's pull that up here so we can have full disclosure. I'm making sure y'all get all the information. Let me see, pull this up here on the screen. Give me a sec. Boom. So Ja Morant's agent, Jim Tanner, says the reporting for the Washington Post today, that's yesterday now, was, quote, irresponsible and defamatory. Any and every allegation involving a firearm has been fully investigated by the NBA and law enforcement and could not be corroborated. The July 20, let's get the full thing. The July 26 incident was purely self-defense. Okay, so towing the company line, making sure that Ja's version of the events is out there. This is what we're getting now. Any and every allegation involving a firearm. So now again, words matter in situations like this. Involving a firearm, that's not talking about him putting the beats to the kid in the backyard. Okay? That's not involving that. Any and every allegation involving a firearm has been fully investigated by the NBA and law enforcement. Now, I don't know about that NBA piece in regards to this 17-year-old getting the beats laid to him. That piece I did not read in the story. So he might just be lumping everything together and just saying, hey, look, everything's been investigated by the cops or the NBA and we good. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that law enforcement part. The NBA part, yes, because that was the Pacers angle. But in regards to the law enforcement angle, with Ja allegedly rolling 9 deep to the mall, impressing the mall security director, and then allegedly putting the beats to a 17-year-old at his own crib for checking the ball up too strong, I don't know if you could just say that's not corroborated. Because if you read the story, there's a lot of corroboration to that story. This is not going to be light. This is not going to go away. Threatened mall security director 4 days before the teen punch accusation. Ja Morant, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, whether live or on the replay. I'm here for it. This story is not going to go away anytime soon. I think Ja wishes it can go. Because remember, he's been out here. His Q rating is going up. Yeah, we can't even talk about the thing with them and Shannon, about a month or so ago with Shannon with the tight ass cardigan. Like, we can't even get into that because that's kind of whatever. That was more Dylan Brooks than them. But in regards to this story, with the Pacers story, it's starting to paint a bad picture for your man, Ja Morant. All right? Come off that. Let me know what y'all think of that. There's a lot there to unpack. I get it. So, if you want to double back and catch the replay and get a full scope of the story, I feel you, because it is a lot to get into. So, story number 2. Draymond Green, a.k.a. the habitual nut hitter, and BHM, if you're not familiar, stands for Black History Month. So we're going to assume this will play. Let's make sure now. This should play correctly. Mix minus. We should be good there. Nope. Almost didn't do it right. Okay. This should be good. Draymond Green did a thing. He says a thing. He's part of hashtag new media. There's a lot of former athletes, former coaches, trainers, managers, whatever, that are all getting into the content space that want to do stuff like this. They want to be able to hop on here and give you their opinion, give you their hot take, and they think that they are validated in their opinions because they played at a high level, coached at a high level, trained people at a high level, scouted at a high level, so on and so forth. So there's an assumed credibility given to hashtag new media. And Draymond has taken that and run with it. He's got a podcast deal. I'm sure he's got a production company. I'm sure he's got all the stuff that all these athletes of this current era, taking advantage of player empowerment, taking advantage of the revenue and these salaries that have skyrocketed, and are building their own brands and establishing their own opinions. And why do I need to go to the 4-letter network when I could just go get a mic, go get a webcam, and I could tell you exactly how I feel about last night's game. I could tell you exactly how I felt about today's practice, how the coaching has been, so on and so forth. But you still have your media obligations. So let's go ahead and pull up here. This should work. You should be able to hear the sound. And this is Draymond Green talking about Black History Month. I guess you can see it here. Draymond Green says he wants to get rid of Black History Month and says it should be celebrated all year round. Now let's start there. That's a very loaded statement. You're saying two different things that could be perceived as conflicting, but we'll let him say it and then we'll take it from there.
Is what I do want to go back to is Black History Month. This is actually the first time you've seen me in a Black History Month shirt, all Black History Month. And it's very intentional. And I really just threw this shirt on because I didn't have another shirt to throw on. But Black History Month, at some point, can we get rid of it?
Okay, let's stop there. At some point, can we get rid of it? Now, if we just take that piece right there, that's problematic as hell, right? Like, I don't need to break down how problematic that is, right? Like, right there, that's a problem. But we'll let him cook. He's revving up to get a takeoff, so now we'll let him spit the rest of it.
Like, at some point? Why we got to keep getting the shortest month to celebrate our history?
Okay. Why do we have to have the shortest month? All right, now that is a trope that's been talked about and lobbied around as a thing to say for a very long time. Damn near my whole lifetime, I've heard that talking point. Here's the problem when you're not educated, and here's the problem when you're giving too many people microphones and allowing them to just say whatever, and we're assuming and giving them credibility just because of their social status. Black History Month was started by a black man, Carter G. Woodson. It was started as a week, Negro History Week. Okay, I'll come off this. I'll come off this for this. So it was started Negro History Week, Carter G. Woodson. It was celebrated. It was a thing that was, it built momentum as the years went on. On college campuses during the Civil Rights era, it began to get momentum in terms of, well, we need more than a week. So we're going to do it all month. So not only was Black History Week established by a black man in February, it was then expanded to a month on colleges and universities by black students during the Civil Rights era. So this narrative of, well, why did they only give us a month, the shortest month of the year, 28 or 29 on the leap year in terms of February, that's not how that went. It's not like the overseers came down and said, we'll give you a month, but we're going to give you the shortest month. Like, I know how sinister that sounds. I know that how that fits a narrative of them against us. I understand it. But when you don't know the history and you're going to crack a mic and act like you're going to spit that reel in front of all these cameras and get the clicks and the retweets, and you don't know the actual origin of Black History Month, this is the problem with new media. That's not how Black History Month was organized. That's not how it was set up. It was organized by a black man initially to be a week. It grew to be a month because of support from black students on colleges and universities during the Civil Rights era. And then it was, I guess you could say it was ordained, or it was officially, what is the term? It was co-signed. I'll use a hood term. It was co-signed by the president at the time, Gerald Ford, in 1976. Okay? Know the history. They just co-signed it. Now, if you want to play the narrative of, well, they should have moved it from February to another month, that's another story. It's another story for another day, and doesn't even really matter, because at that point you had nothing. It was officially, instituted as a real thing and observed by the president and recognized by the president in 1976. Said, oh, okay, y'all want a month? And y'all already celebrating it? Well, let's make it a whole thing for the entire nation to understand that this is now Black History Month. That was not something that was done with sinister intentions. Know your history before you crack a mic. But I digress.
You got governors want to take our history out of schools.
Now, that's a fact. Now, he's talking about DeSantis. This is not a political show, stream, pod, whatever, but we know who he's talking about there, okay?
And I'm not going to be the fool to go say, yeah, we get celebrated for 28 days. So at some point, I'd like to get rid of it.
So if you're going to use that point, I wish he would have just said, yo, I think the whole CRT argument and the woke bill that is happening down in Florida is a travesty of justice. Fine. We good. We on the same page. You're being celebrated today. But instead, because you thought you knew, or you just assumed the history of something you didn't know about, now you're being aired out. Instead of being celebrated for saying the right thing. And he's still being celebrated, but not en masse, because people that know, like myself, know, well, that's not really the history of Black History Month. So to say, let's get rid of it because they gave it to us and they made sure to give it to us on the month with the shortest days, that's not how that went. So half of your point, the initial part of your point, is already thrown out the window because it's not true. It's categorically not true. So the second half of your point, which is an obvious one, but because you're an athlete, you're using your platform, you get to amplify a simple message. Bron is the king of that, by the way. By the way, has he still finished? Is he still reading the Malcolm X book? Anyway, but he's saying the obvious right thing to say out loud. You don't like CRT. You don't like the woke bill. It's problematic what's happening in certain parts of the country. That's an easy win. That's an easy win to get praise. But when you started off with a lie, when you started off with being unclear of the history, it kind of discredits everything else you have to say after that.
It's, we're making all these changes in the world. Can't talk about these people, can't talk about those people, can't say this, can't say that.
Be careful. Be careful. Like, again, now he's crossing his bases. He said the obvious thing out loud that's going to get easy praise. Now he's tiptoeing into waters that is a different angle in a whole different other audience. So he's trying to be all inclusive in terms of, I want all the groups, all the different factions, all the different, assemblies of people that have varying degrees of competence in terms of what should be morally and ethically correct. He's trying to cross streams here. He's trying to tiptoe that line. I don't know how good of a job he's doing, but let us continue.
At some point, it's time to get rid of Black History Month. Now, get rid of Black History, like they're trying to do. But Black History Month? Nah, teach my history from January 1st to December 31st, and then do it again. And then again. And then again. And then again.
Right, so that last part is the cleanup to clarify what he really wanted to say. Again, if he would have just said that, instead of starting with the incorrect part, which is continuing the old trope of, well, they, i.e. white people, gave us 28 days for Black History Month. That's not how that worked. That's not how that worked. Habitual nut hitter, you caused your team to trick off a 3-1 lead in the finals. You finally was able to redeem yourself in the finals last year, even though, it took a superhuman effort from Steph and Andrew Wiggins to get you your fourth ring. You got a podcast, you're doing numbers, and maybe the numbers aren't hitting as good as they used to. Maybe because you haven't jumped out the window to say a thing to make sure people want to check out your pod. Maybe this is just, a way to get the numbers up. Maybe now people will, spin the block on the Draymond pod. I don't know. Let me know. Are you gonna now check out the Draymond pod because he said this? Well, was this enough of a thing for you to want to spin the block? I mean, to me it ain't, but to each his own. So Draymond, Black History Month. Hopefully that audio came through. I'm pretty sure it did, but I just want to make sure that went through. But I think not understanding the history kind of discredits everything else that he was able to say. So I will let that lie right there. We will handle that at another time. I'm sure he'll go on his pod, and I hope somebody will tell him that's not how Black History Month was done. But, if not, Google is your friend. It's always there for you. Sometimes before you jump out the window and think you're on a roll, giving off a hot take, maybe just Google it real quick, just to make sure. Anyway, we move on. Now it's time to get into some NFL. There is some NBA stuff I may touch in the back half. The Ben Simmons story that we have from yesterday about him allegedly being shut down by the Nets for the rest of the season because they're just done with him and they're not sure about the knee injury and all of that. The Nets, as you would expect, are coming out and saying, Jacques Vaughn specifically, that there is no truth to that. They have confidence in Ben, yada, yada, yada. We'll see. We'll just have to let that happen on its own, and I'll be right here on Timeline T, hashtag TLT, to let you know what's up. AJ Brown versus Juju. I don't know why this is still a thing, but, because of the timeline, because of everything we have, this is still a thing. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll speed this up because there's a few NFL stories I want to hop in on. So last night, AJ Brown tweets and then deletes a shot at Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, you see that the the quote there, but why do the quote when we have the screenshot of the actual tweet? Okay. Y'all can read this. I'll read up to the part that, I can't read here on YouTube. You really need to find somebody else to play with. Don't let that ring get you beat TF up. You know what TF stands for. Because I'm all with the dumb SHII. Dumb I'm not going to speak on it no more. So that sounds pretty tame, right? That sounds pretty reasonable. Aggressive, but reasonable. Then he took it a step further and I guess slid in the DMs. And then he went even further in the DMs. I don't play them kid games. If you want to see me, I'm with it. You better go to Cabo and enjoy your ring and stop with me. Leave me off all your TikTok female anatomy. So, I don't know why AJ feels this way. Like Juju did what he always does. He did a skit, and this is off the heels of having that Valentine's Day thing for Bradbury, right? For James Bradbury, and AJ tried to ride on Juju on behalf of Bradbury, and you thought it was over right there. But Juju being Juju, everything is content. So he took to TikTok. And he did a whole skit where he was roasting a bunch of Eagles and A.J. Brown specifically and Bradbury specifically. Like, he was targeting a few Eagles. Jalen Hurts caught a stray. Like, he basically aired out the Eagles one more again on TikTok. Why is this a thing? What's going to happen here? I would love to know, because I think there's a real possibility, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this is that this could be a Chappelle skit. This could be when Keeping It Real goes wrong if this keeps going. Because we just see what happened with Ja Morant. Ja Morant also could be when Keeping It Real goes wrong. I'm Ja Morant. I invite this kid into my crib to hoop. We're hooping. We're getting competitive. He's checking the rock. I check it back. He checked it back a little bit extra aggressively. It kind of hits me in the face. Now I ask my mans, should I do it to him? Which means I'm known for putting the beats to people, because if I ask my man, should I do it to him? He already knows what I'm talking about. And my man says, yeah, do it to him. And then I lay hands. Allegedly. That's when Keeping It Real goes wrong. Because now there's multiple police reports on Ja Morant. A.J. Brown. We got the screenshots, bruh. You can't delete this stuff, bruh. Once it's on the net, it's done. If there's actual static, if there's actual smoke between A.J. Brown and Juju, now let's be clear. If you're not familiar with Juju, he's black and Samoan, I believe, or Polynesian. He's black and, let's say he's black and Samoan. I mean, you may think you can shoot the fair one with Juju, but black and Samoan, that's usually a pretty tough combo to lay hands on and win. Like, good luck, AJ. Like, I hope your hands are A1. I hope your hands are A1, because I don't think you could run down on someone, and he's from Cali and from Long Beach. A Long Beach, half black, half Samoan, athletic as all hell dude. You want to run down on him? Look, A.J. Brown is a physical receiver. I'm sure he's in the gym a lot. I don't know about that one, bro. Be careful. Be careful. I don't want another episode of when Keeping It Real goes wrong, tumbling down the timeline. We really don't need that. We just do not need that. So that will take care of that story. I just wanted to touch on it real quick because it's a lot going on there. But there's more NFL stuff. Let's speed this up here. 49ers. General Manager John Lynch said he texted Tom Brady following his retirement announcement. The two were former teammates briefly on the Patriots. He texted him a congratulations. Lynch said the team will consider adding a quarterback due to uncertainty with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance coming off injuries. If you're TB12 and allegedly you're considering a stand-up comedian career, like you're trying to do stand-up to get your wife back, well, ex-wife, you're trying to do stand-up to get Gisele Bündchen back, I mean, you might as well just go back and play football, bro. If it's come down to that, if you can't figure out what to do with your life, after playing football for umpteen years, winning 7 chips, if you can't walk away gracefully, you have a gig at Fox for 300 plus M's waiting for you. And you're going to do stand up for a year because you need a year off in between, your football career and starting a new media career. Then, bruh, if you're going to go do stand up, then you might as well just go ahead and play for the 49ers, bro. Like, stop playing. And we know you all about that tampering life. So the fact that John Lynch is saying it was just a congratulatory text on his retirement, bro, we know how Tom Brady move. Like, come on, stop it. Stop it. We know how Tom Brady moves. Don't want to hear it. Do not want to hear it. This man gave us a fake retirement just so he could go be the alleged part owner of the Dolphins last year before the blue check boy himself, Adam Schefter, blew it all up. So, no, I don't believe that it was just a congratulatory text. Maybe it started that way, but the thread didn't stop there. I can tell you that. Let me know. Do you think Tom Brady's really done? Let me know in the comments. More NFL talk. The Dolphins are open to extending Tua Tagovailoa, according to GM Chris Greer. We'll be in touch with Tua's representatives. And Mike and I and Brandon Shore will sit, and Steve Ross, the owner, who was trying to give Tom Brady a piece of the team so he can retire and then unretire so then he could go sell that piece of the team and then come back to be a QB of the Dolphins. Everyone forgets that. But anyway, Steve Ross will make a push for things, and we'll talk and see. But so whatever. So they're open to extending Tua Tagovailoa. There's a quarterback in Baltimore that might change that. There is a quarterback that is still currently a Baltimore Raven that can change that. Will that happen? I do not know. I would not be in a rush to extend Tua Tagovailoa if I know this man is available. If I know this man, Lamar Jackson, is available, I don't know why you're rushing to extend Tua Tagovailoa. He's from Florida. He's from South Florida. Former MVP. Like, why wouldn't you? All right, whatever. So anyway, moving on to Lamar. So in the latest Lamar, it looks like we're talking Lamar every day. If you haven't already, check out the video, the clip from 2 days ago. There was a lot of good feedback on that. There was a lot of interesting debates in the comments about Lamar Jackson and the misreporting or the misrepresentation or the disinformation or misinformation, whichever information you want to do, but just bad information being used to kind of paint Lamar Jackson in the bad way. So here's a timeline that kind of shows exactly what we're talking about. ESPN, 4-letter network, September 2022. 4-letter network reports Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed deal. Now, this past Friday, Fraud A. Smith, overworked and underpaid, now hiding behind a paywall. Fraud A. Smith says Lamar Jackson never demanded a fully guaranteed deal. And now today, as in Thursday, March 2nd, the 4-letter network again reports Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed deal. Now, the caveat there is that allegedly, Fraud A. Smith got a call from someone in Lamar's camp to say that they never demanded a fully guaranteed deal. Now, saying they never demanded a fully guaranteed deal is different than asking for a fully guaranteed deal, correct? We can all agree, right? Like, just because, well, he said they never demanded a deal, and he also said they never asked for one. Now, that to me is the part where I think that doesn't sound right. And I will repeat it again. It seems to just be a narrative that just has to keep on being said. If Deshaun Watson gets $230 million, you can keep telling me how it's an anomaly, it's an outlier, the Browns are stupid, whatever. That don't mean a thing to me if I'm another quarterback in the National Football League. Oh, he got $230 fully guaranteed? Okay, now I know I'm better than him. I have more accolades than him. $250 fully guaranteed. Now, if it were me, and I've been on the record saying this for over a year, before some former football quarterback turned analyst on the 4-letter network said it, I said it as soon as Deshaun Watson's deal was announced, If I'm Lamar, I'm asking for 300 guaranteed. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get it, but that lets them know you're going to pay me more than Deshaun Watson. We're going to start at 300, and we could settle somewhere between 250 and 275, but it's going to be more than that 230. Daniel Jones is asking for 45 mil. 45 mil for Daniel Jones, who we had no idea if he was even good 18 months ago. He's asking for 45. The Giants are putting out there, we are far apart in our negotiations with Daniel Jones. I would hope so. Because if Daniel Jones gets $45 million a year, how can you honestly, morally, and ethically tell Lamar Jackson he can't get $250 million guaranteed? I don't care if Daniel Jones' contract won't be fully guaranteed. The fact that he could get $45 million a year annually, then okay, Lamar, if I'm Lamar, $60 million. And let's go ahead and do that over 5 years. You do the math. Moving on. So this story came and kind of shook up the timeline late in the day. And I appreciate those who are sticking in. Drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell for notifications so you can stay up to speed on when we're doing these live streams and when I'm releasing episodes of my podcast, the D7D podcast. But this story here came out, and there was a survey done, and it was a NFLPA sponsored team report card. And the Arizona Cardinals were 31 out of 32. That means next to last. 31 out of 32. So let's zoom in here. Is that too much? No, we're good there. Okay. So the NFLPA released team report cards based on a survey of 1,300 plus players, and the Cardinals were 31st out of 32 teams. The grades included locker room, F. Treatment of families, F. Food service / nutrition, F-. Weight room, F-. Strength staff, A. We'll get there. Training room, F-. Training staff, B+. So, and then lastly, travel, B+. Now, here's where that gets funny. That travel should be A+ because the owner of the team is a pilot. So if anyone should know how to travel in style and travel on the best planes, whether it's an Airbus or a 787 or whatever, it should be the guy who owns the team who is busy flying planes midweek. So the fact that the travel is only a B+, very damning. Very damning. Now, training staff and strength staff getting an A and a B+, okay. But then when the weight room and training room is a F-. So basically, we got the right people in here to do the work. It's just the facilities are basura. Everything from top to bottom, the facilities are basura. Locker room, weight room, training room, all Fs. Food service, nutrition, F-. Now, here's the funny part. I don't know if y'all were checking out the in-season Hard Knocks that was on HBO Max. But from the outside, it looked amazing. It looked the part. It looked like what Dion got in Colorado. Nice brand new facility, fancy, whirlpools, hot tubs everywhere. But according to the players, F for the weight room, F-. F- for the training room, F for the locker room, and F- for the food service and nutrition. That's amazing, bro. That is amazing. The fact that we can have a team that's valued. See if we can do this on the fly. A team that is valued. Let's see. NFL evaluation, right? NFL valuation. Where are they at? Can we find them? Franchise value. Oh, they're going to make me do the song and dance. Or are they here? Expand statistic. Where's Arizona? God, they're that low. They're at the bottom. 3.2. Is that billion? 3.2 billion. Franchise value. This is not the best stat. This is not the best site for that. All right. We'll come off that. But in the sense of understanding, and I'll try to type it in separately and figure it out. But when you have a team that's worth that much, this is a $1 billion team, right? At minimum, it's a few billion. Like all these teams in the NFL are billions in terms of valuation. If the Washington Commanders are trying to go for $7 billion, Arizona's got to be in that 3 to 4 range, right? So when you have that, and all your facilities are being deemed as trash, and that's a family-run business. The Bidwells have been in charge of that franchise for a very long time. I think my entire lifetime. So that's something where I don't know how that happens to where your facilities, and they've had some high-level players. They've had Larry Fitzgerald. They've had Kurt Warner. You know, they most recently had J.J. Watt. They still, for right now, still have DeAndre Hopkins. Like, I don't understand what's happening there, but okay, now we got it figured out. Yes, there we go. $3.27 billion is what the value of the Arizona Cardinals franchise. So a franchise that's worth $3.25 billion is getting F grades for their locker room, F grades for their treatment of families, F for their food service and nutrition, F- for the weight room, F- for the training room. And only a B+ for travel when the owner of the team flies planes as a hobby. I don't understand. Make it make sense. The Arizona Cardinals are looking shaky out here, and I don't know how that gets fixed. I don't know how that gets remedied, but there's something there that needs to be paid attention to. And we'll finish up with the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to Mita Kimes. There was an initial conversation regarding Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy spoke highly of his time with Kellen Moore. Obviously, he departed as OC, and Mike McCarthy is now going to take on more of the play calling responsibilities this year for the Dallas Cowboys. So McCarthy said that the Cowboys' former OC did a hell of a job and continued to improve over the last 3 years, but it's clear they had their differences. This quote from today explains some of that. So let's read the quote of Mike McCarthy. Let's get some backstory. Mike McCarthy, never forget, Mike McCarthy lied in his job interview with Jerry Jones to get the job of being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Never forget. Mike McCarthy, I've been where Kellen has been. Kellen wants to light the scoreboard up, but I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my defense. I think when you're a coordinator, I think when you're a coordinator, but you're in charge of the offense. Being a head coach and being a play caller, you're a little more in tune with everything. I don't desire to be the number one offense in the league. I want to be the number one team in the league with a number of wins and a championship. And if we got to give up some production and take care of the ball better to get that, then that's what we'll do because we have a really good defense. No, I don't know about that defense part. That defense was a little sus to me. But here is the T. This is why it's called Timeline T. This is why we're here. Mita Kimes aired them out. This year when Dallas passed on first down, they had the second highest down set conversion rate in the NFL, behind the Chiefs, naturally. When they ran the ball on first down, they dropped to 22nd. So again, this might be a sample of what you're in for if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, because Mike McCarthy is trying to say, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to run the ball a lot on first down. When they tried to do that last year, it was mid. When they passed the ball on first down, because the strength of their offense is the passing game. Let's be clear. As much as Zeke is a star, more so in name only than production on the field, Tony Pollard is a nice story. He's exciting. I don't know if he could be a long-term every down back, but that remains to be seen. Plus, they got to pay him. But in regards to the strength of that offense is in the passing game. When will Mike McCarthy realize that? Or again, is he lying again? Is he giving us the smokescreen? Because clearly, if you can lie in your job interview with Jerry Jones and tell him, yes, I'm up to speed. I know all these analytics. I am evolving with the game of football, only for him to admit publicly that, no, I just did that to get the job. I was lying. I didn't mean any of that. I am not up to speed. I did not watch every play from the Dallas Cowboys last season and broke it down via analytics. I did not do that. But I knew to sell to Jerry that I am evolving with the game of football, that I had to say that. So what makes us believe anything from here on out of what Mike McCarthy is ever going to say? Why would we believe anything that this man is going to say? So he's saying he wants to run the ball. Would you be surprised come next year if he starts to air it out? Would you? Would you really be surprised? I would not. But that would do it here for me. I appreciate those who were able to pull up. This is Timeline T. I'm your host at the Sam D. You see it up? Nope, over there. Yep, over there at the Sam D. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I appreciate that. That does a good job, not only for right now, even though we're wrapping up, but also does good for the replay to get more and more people to see it. If you're new here, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so that you'll be alerted every time we go. We're doing this daily, Monday to Friday, from noon to 1. Going through the timeline, seeing what stories are relevant. I think it was a good episode today. That Ja Morant story is going to be a thing. That one's going to be, I would not be surprised if we have that in the rotation. You can see it down there on the topic bar. We might have it again there tomorrow. So Ja Morant, that's going to be a developing story. The habitual nut hitter and Black History Month. I don't know what Draymond was saying, but because he led with a fallacy on the front end, it kind of discredited the obvious points that he was making on the back end. And then we had A.J. Brown versus Juju Smith-Schuster. A.J., I don't know if you want smoke with a half black, half Samoan kid from the LBC, but to each his own. So for Timeline T, I am the Sam D. Said Dewsbury Jr. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.